So you should title your notes adding integers. You already cut your pieces of paper in half. Just so you guys know, we're going to be doing the same sign. Little slip of green paper first, just so you know, so you're prepared. We'll be doing the same sign first. One vocab word that we need to add before we get to the green piece of paper. It's called an additive inverse. So if you would please get this vocab word written in. Additive inverses are two numbers with a sum of 0. Two numbers with a sum of 0. 8 and negative 8 are additive inverses, because when you add them together, they'll equal 0. What's another pair of additive inverses? 6 and negative 6. 9 and negative 9. So in other words, additive inverses are like a number and its opposite. Yeah, good. Who said that? Nice. Props. So an additive inverse is like a number and its opposite. Well, specifically for adding. Right? Specifically for adding. All right. So once you have that definition and that example in, go ahead and glue in your first green sheet. It's the adding integers with the same signs. We're going to do the same signs first. We got a little rap we're going to do today. It's going to be nice. Y'all are going to love it. Oh yeah, definitely rap.
Oh.
You can sit there and listen to everybody else rap. But everybody's doing it. If everybody was jumping off a bridge, wouldn't you wonder why?
Yeah. No.
Maybe there's candy at the bottom. I don't know.
I wouldn't jump
Hi. Man, we've had like 1,000 people be late today. Who's taking a test? Yeah, who's taking a test today? Science, okay. I was like, no wonder why my people are all getting late. So make sure you pick up the notes, cut them in half. Somebody around you's got scissors. You gotta paste it in. Add integers with the same sign. Okay. Integers with the same sign. You don't need to return them now. Just return them later. You guys want to be in the video. I know. You guys, you want to be famous. You want to be on my channel is what it is. You just don't want to be on it.
What's your channel?
You'll find it later. It's my personal channel, but I post my videos too. It's easier that way. So, you guys see the blanks? You guys see the blanks that you need to fill in on the green page? So, the key concept for adding integers with the same sign is add. I know that's a groundbreaking thought. The key concept for adding integers with the same sign is to add them. And keep this sign. So, what's 10 plus 10? What's negative 10 plus negative 10? Negative 20. Why? Because you just add the numbers and then what do? Keep the sign. So if the numbers, remember, things with the same sign. If the numbers are both negative, well then they remain, the answer's negative. If they're both positive, the answer's positive. We saw that yesterday with the integers, with the integer counters, right? These two held up 4 negatives, and then they held up 3 negatives, and we had a total of 7 negatives. It's like when you have your team and you're getting it bigger. I'm on the negative team, and I'm adding more to the negative team, okay? You didn't. Your neighbor has a glue stick, man. Just ask. So, to finish this up, positive plus positive is positive. You don't need to write this example down because this is a kindergarten example, right? 3 plus 5 equals 8. That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. When you add the two together, do you keep the sign? Yes, they're both positive, so the answer's positive. These are both negative, so you make it negative. You add and keep the sign if they have the same sign. Okay? If they have the same sign, you add and keep the sign. We have 4 examples we're going to do underneath that green piece of paper. Okay? So you're there. Write down the example and do the addition. Negative 8 plus negative 1. What team are they on? They're both from the negative team, so that means you add them, and then we'll do what? And what? You add them and then do what? Keep the sign. So add them together. What do you get? You get 9, and then you make it negative because they're both negative, so it's negative 9. Add and keep the sign. Dylan, what do you mean, buddy?
Nothing.
Okay, you sure? All right. All right, kindergarten. I really hope that kindergarten actually does this because I keep using kindergarten as an example. I don't know, I've never had a kid in kindergarten, but my 5-year-old can do this, and he's in preschool, so I would hope that they can do this in kindergarten.
Can you like first grade?
I don't know. I mean, Isaac is doing this right now. So, what team are they on? Go both of them? They're both on positive teams, so then you add them, and what do you get? And you keep the sign, so it's positive 14. Awesome. All right, next example. Write it down and do it. Okay, so what team are they on?
Negative.
The negative team. They're both on the negative team, so they're the same sign. So same sign, add, and we get
Negative
50. And you keep the sign, you get negative 50. If I'm going too fast, just let me know and tell me to slow down. Okay, so I will counter that by saying write faster. Last one, a little tricky because there are 3 numbers. Can you add all 3 of these at the same time? Wrong. Who said yes? Cool. Tell me how to add all 3 of these at the exact same time. Go. Sure. So you added 2 numbers first. Sure. You don't have to. They're not in the same set of parentheses, but good idea. You can't add 3 numbers. It's just not possible. You can't. PEMDAS tells us that addition and subtraction is the last step, but what people often forget is that you have to add or subtract from left to right. Okay? So you have to add or subtract from left to right. So negative 6 plus negative 7, what team are they on? They're both negative, so it'd be negative 17. And then negative 17 and negative 7, negative 24, you add and keep the sign. Okay? So same sign, pretty easy. It's no different really than what you've done in the past, right? No different. No different than what you've done in all of elementary school with adding. Next part is adding integers with different signs. Let's glue the other one in. Just a hint for glue sticks. You do not need to color with a glue stick. You just need to trace. Okay, coloring with a glue stick makes the paper get all weird and funky. Just trace the outside and you're set. Okay. So I say coloring because you don't have to go back and forth with the glue stick. Just go and you're done. The glue sticks are pretty good. They're pretty sticky as it is. Okay, while you're gluing that in, I'm going to talk. So you need to listen while you glue. Listen while you glue. Find the absolute value of each. That's weird. I thought we were adding numbers. It's true. If you're adding numbers with different signs, we actually need to think about the absolute value. You don't actually have to find it, you just have to think about it. You want to subtract the one that has a smaller absolute value from the one that has a larger absolute value. And then the sign of your answer is going to be the sign of the one with the larger absolute value. No, you're just listening. So if we can picture the absolute value in our head, we don't actually have to write down absolute values. That's why we teach absolute value to begin with, because you have to do this. So I summarize it this way. If you see 2 numbers that have different signs, you subtract them. When we subtract, we always subtract big minus little, right? Always, no matter what. No matter what. Subtract the 2 numbers, and then what do? We have to keep track of the sign. We keep the sign of the bigger one. All right? We keep the sign of the bigger one. So this is kind of counterintuitive. You would think if I'm adding, I should add, right? Well, did we add earlier, yesterday, when we had the number counters, where we had some positive and some negative? We didn't add. There was negative 3 and positive 2, and what was the answer? Negative 3, positive 2. It was negative 1, because there was the battle. The battle is what happens with the different signs. When they have different sign, whichever team has more wins. With different signs, the team that has more, the negative team or the positive team, whichever team has more wins the battle, and they get to keep their sign.
What if they have the same amount on each
So
team?
if they have the same amount on each team, that's our vocab word from the very start of our notes. What is that? If they have the same amount on each team, those are called additive inverses, and it will equal 0. Good question. So you don't have to write these examples down, just look. So if you have -3 plus 5, which one has the larger absolute value? So we subtract 5 minus 3. You get 2. Why is it 2? Well, because 5 is greater, has a greater absolute value, and 5 was positive. 5 was positive, so our answer is positive. Okay? Let's look at the other one, the other version of that. 3 plus -5. Which one has a larger absolute value? 5, right? -5. So you do 5 minus 3. But Mr. Strand, I thought this was the negative one. You're absolutely right. You subtract the two numbers and keep the sign of the bigger one. Which one's the bigger one? Yeah, which number is bigger, 5 or 3? 5. So you keep that sign, all right, because it has the larger absolute value. Now, I don't ever think about absolute values. I just think about the number part. Remember how numbers have two parts to it? The sign and the magnitude? I like to just look at the number part. Let's do some examples here, okay? These are the ones we're going to write down, yes. They're going to have the exact same numbers, but they'll have different signs this time. Different sign, adding integers. 8 plus -1. Same signs or different signs? So different signs, what do? Subtract the two numbers. So we get 7. And then what? Ladies and gentlemen, you literally just wrote it down. It's step 2. Keep the sign of the bigger one. Which one's bigger? 8. So the positive team has more. So our answer is 7. Why not 9? I thought we were adding. 8 plus 1 is 9. 8 plus -1 is subtraction. Weird. Isn't it weird that addition is actually subtraction sometimes? Do you know subtraction is sometimes addition? Yeah, we'll talk about subtraction next Tuesday. Next one, -5 plus 9. Same or different sign? -5 plus 9. Different signs, so what are we going to do? Different signs. What does it say in our notes? The first part. Subtract the two numbers. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Now we keep the sign of the bigger one. Which one's bigger, positive or negative? Positive is bigger. If you are struggling with this idea, one thing you should do is write down which number is bigger. So here I'd write down positive. Positive. The next one. If you're struggling with that idea, if you're like, I'm still a little confused, try writing down which one's bigger. If I write down which number is bigger, that tells me the sign of my answer, doesn't it? Different signs, subtract, then what? Different signs, subtract, then keep the sign of the, so we can be exact. How are we doing so far? Okay, all right. Still have those 3 numbers again. Uh-oh. I can't do these, but Mr. Trent, they've got different signs. Mr. Trent, they also have the same signs. What do? Do I add or do I subtract? Yes. You're going to do both. You just have to pick which one you want to do first. Typically, we work left to right. So, same sign or different sign? Same sign. What do? Same sign, add. So we add them and we get
17.
good. And we keep the sign of the bigger one. The bigger one is negative, so negative.
Actually, I feel like that should be like -11 plus -6 plus 7 because
Great.
one of operations.
Sure, that's fine. Keep in mind parentheses only come first if there's an operation inside the parentheses. This parentheses is there just to show you it's negative. Now these are different signs. What do we do? Different signs. You subtract and we keep the sign of the bigger one. Which one's the bigger one?
Negative.
Negative. So we keep the sign of the bigger one, we get -10. Okay? questions on these four. Now we're gonna do some mixed ones. So we've got 4 more examples. Okay, 4 more examples. Now, what do we got here? First things we should do is we should decide is this the same sign or different sign? So we want to do same sign. What's the rule for same sign? Same sign, add. All right? So we're going to add same sign. Add. What do we do with different signs? And keep the sign of the bigger one so we can be exact. What? Same sign, add. We add and we get 47. Keep the sign of the bigger one? Well, they're both negative, so the sign would be negative. All right, let's do another one. Same or different?
Same.
What's our sign? I would say that this is probably 3rd grade. I don't know exactly. They're both positive. Luckily, there's no carrying over with this one. So it'd be 1 plus 4, 2 plus 4, and 1 plus 1 to give us 265. Good. All right. The last 2 are going to be same sign add. This one is different sign subtract. This is the best part of class, just so you know right now. Right now is the best part of class. Because these were same sign add, different signs subtract, then keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? I think this is the best part of class. So let's go through the rules again. Same sign, different signs. We keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? That's what I was talking about. This is the best part of class. Ready? It's same sign, different signs. Oh, let's try again. We got to get it in rhythm. Same sign, different signs, and keep the sign of the
Bigger one.
so you can be exact. What? Everybody say what?
What?
Yeah, you can sit out. You can sit out and be a party pooper. Every party has a pooper, and the pooper is you. Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. We keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? The hardest part of the rap, is after the word subtract. The hardest part is after the word subtract. Ready? Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. And keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? The hardest part is after the word subtract, right? Different sign, subtract. And keep the sign, right? We got to get that. That's the hardest part. So once you get it, same sign, add. Different sign, subtract, and keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? Give me a beat, somebody. About this speed. Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. We keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. Oh, seriously, come on. You guys, we've done this like 6 times now. You missed the ending. You missed the ending.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What? Alright, where's all this? Where's my people with beat? Like, giving me beats with their pencils. Of course the phone's ringing right now. And I gotta edit that out of my video now. We're rapping right now. Allison, right? Your iPads and Peter's on. You don't get to leave now. We're rapping.
Okay.
You can leave if you can rap right now.
Where's the
Go.
glass at?
Alright, thanks. I'll send it over. Ready?
Glass.
We'll do it with me.
Can we do it with you?
Oh yeah, ready? Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. And keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? Oh, you get to do it. You gotta be a pro, Louisiana State. Ready? Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. We keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? All right, now don't worry about the beat. I want to hear you.
No.
All right, ready? Everyone but Dylan. He said he's sitting out.
Not me either.
Riley, you listen too, girl. It's all good. Same sign, add. Different sign, subtract. We keep the sign of the bigger one so you can be exact. What? So what do we? Why rap? Well, because the rap, we call it the add rap. Everybody say add rap. We're gonna have a multiplication melody later, but right now we have our add rap. Our add wrap tells us exactly what to do. If we see the same sign add, we see the different sign subtract, and listen to here. Keep the sign of the bigger one, so you can be exact, applies to both addition and subtraction. Let's see. Which one's bigger here? Do we keep the sign of that bigger one? Yeah, we did. Look at this. Which one's bigger, 31 or 16?
31.
Did we keep the sign of that bigger one? We did. So that works for everything. So let's wrap this one. Let's see what we got. This one's same sign add, different signs subtract. So we get 73 minus 45. We have to borrow, get 8, 28. So we get 28, but we keep the sign of the... So you can be exact. Thank you, what? So we get negative 28. All right, last problem here that we'll do together. Last problem that we'll do together. So we'll get this same sign, add, different signs, subtract. We get 4. We keep the sign of the bigger one. Which one's bigger? 6, so we keep it as positive. Bring down the other one. Same sign add, different signs subtract. We get, and keep the sign of the bigger one. Can be exact. What? So we get our answer is 1. Okay?